Hello, Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Inside the Force. Carabas. Gotta go, Hera's here.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hello, everybody. If you don't know this voice, because it's been a while, this is Casey Cooley. Hi, welcome to Inside the Force, episode 199. I am Casey Cooley, as I just said, and I'm hosting this not by myself. Dave Cottingham is on vacation, but I am welcomed here with the glorious presence of Cody Guiler. Cody.
Hey everyone. Hey, Casey.
Hey, so I feel like people who might be confused because maybe they're used to you at this point, not used to me.
Yeah, I almost had a 2 week straight.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Unfortunate not to have you on the podcast with us, but you've had some big life events, having a little Padawan, little youngling.
Disturbance in the Force happened in my life. So, yeah, I mean, guys, so for long-term listeners who do know me, I took a month and a half off, basically, because my child was born. And came early, honestly. He was expected to come Labor Day weekend, September 3rd, around that time, but he came 2 weeks early. So I just had paternity leave off from work and from the podcast here to get my new life in order. So my wife and we're still trying to get it in order. But no, that's where I've been. I've been at the house, essentially locked up, trying to raise a newborn child. And, it's going very well. He's awesome. Everything's perfect and great. And it's a whole new capacity of emotions and love that I didn't know it was possible in a human body. So I am thrilled for what is ahead.
That's awesome. Are you teaching him the ways of the Force yet?
A little bit, he's learning. He's actually seems kind of smart for a human of his age, but no, it was like about 3 weeks of his life. So when he was like 3 or 4 weeks old, randomly Star Wars was on TBS, I think. Mm-hmm. And it just happened to be Phantom Menace, and so I just watched a few seconds of it, and his head was turned towards the TV, although he probably couldn't see it, but he was seeing images and flashes and lights and colors. So, technically his first Star Wars movie was Episode 1. And I know I've changed my mind on the order I'm going to show my kids the movie, so I've decided to show them the 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. The
release order.
Yeah.
Yep. Good choice.
But and I kind of made that switch. If you listen to the commentary of episode 4, which just came out this month with Russell Johnson, at the beginning of that commentary, I was already in my mindset I'm going to do it chronological order because that's how it is, chronological. That's the way you should do it. But then throughout the commentary, Russ and Dave and I were talking, and Russ basically convinced me to go complete 180 and go with the original release order. So that's what I will do when he is of age to really be cognizant of a movie. But
that'll be exciting moment for sure. Sharing Star Wars with your kids.
I can't. He's got some Star Wars things a little bit, but I mean, you got him actually probably the coolest gift so far. You got him the plush Porg doll kind of
went
thing.
Out on Force Friday 2 this year, which we talked a little bit about on the show for anybody that listened to that. And so one of the things I got, I didn't really talk about on the show because I kind of wanted to surprise Casey and his son with this little Porg plush doll
that's
thing.
The coolest thing
and
ever.
When you go shopping, now that you see all the Force Friday stuff that's out and all the Last Jedi stuff, I mean, there's Porg stuff everywhere. So I feel like you have to get it because they look so cute, and I feel like it's a good. It's going to be like the new Ewok, I guess, for people younger than us. So
my wife doesn't think they're as cute as we do, but I definitely, because I was thinking for Halloween I could be Chewbacca, and my little son Jacob, which his name is Jake, will be a Porg.
I think that'd be awesome.
Holding him in my hand.
That'd be hilarious.
Because he kind of gives a look a little bit like a Porg. He'll just look up with big beady eyes, with like an emotionless face, just looking up at you like a Porg does. So it's quite cute and just like a Porg. But I think we're going as like some other Disney stuff like Mickey Mouse and Pluto or something. But that'll be fun. So enough about updating with my life. Quickly, where Dave is. If you this whole time been wondering why is this guy talking, why isn't Dave? And my routine is gone. Dave is not introducing the show because Dave is on a vacation right now. He's in Disney World actually, so he's doing semi Star Wars related things. He's been sending some pictures of signs showing the new Star Wars lands, and
oh man,
and they always
so
do
exciting.
they always do a parade, for Star Wars parade, like Phasma and the First Orders for Stormtroopers. So that's I'm so jealous. I haven't been to last time I was at Disney was for your wedding actually.
Okay,
Florida, so it's been a few years. And they obviously have done a lot more since then, so I'm anxious to go back.
They've got like a little Jedi almost teaching academy type thing for kids to sign up for, where they do little classes. You get a lightsaber, you get like a Jedi robe and stuff.
Yeah, and they've updated the Star Tours. I know they've done that with some Force Awakens things. But
yeah, I haven't seen any of that stuff because I haven't been to Disney. I've been in Orlando a lot. Yeah. I have family there, but yeah, Star Tours would be fun to go see the new stuff there. I'm sure Dave's.
Oh, I'm sure he's done it several times already.
Enjoying it.
Because his kids are kind of getting into that too, which is awesome. I'm so excited for that time. So I think 2 years when Star Wars Lands opens in 2019. So basically 2 years from now will be a good time to go because my son will be 2, which he won't remember it, but he'll be at the age where at the moment he'll be able to react accordingly. I feel like he'll be able to be all like, "Wow, this
be able
is
to pick
cool."
up a lightsaber.
Yeah, and he can hug Chewbacca or like hug these characters and be kind of enamored with them, hopefully. But so we'll see. 2 years away, so it's going to be a big year because that's also next celebration, Star Wars Celebration.
Yep.
And Disney D23 is also that year, and Star Wars Lands opens. So it's and Episode 9. Gosh, that's a huge year.
They haven't said it, for Star Wars Land in 2019. Have they said if it's going to be for sure in the summer? Do you know if there's a month that they've picked out? They might not have even chosen a date yet.
Summer, but yeah, I don't know.
It would make sense for
right.
money reasons to open in the summer, but
and that's why I think going in the fall is good because hopefully it'd be less crowded. I'm definitely not going to go.
It's going to be crowded. It's going to be crowded no matter what in 2019. But I'm still going to try to. I'm going to have to find a way to get there.
Have to.
Maybe stay in the Star Wars themed hotel where you can only stay a few nights in.
Have to.
They have like a limited stay there for anybody that hasn't seen the renderings of what that hotel will look like. The rooms look really cool. I mean, they're all Star Wars themed, and
I love it because everything is narrative based. So like the park, like your experience in the park is going to be wrapped around a story. Like your experience at this hotel is going to be wrapped around a story, like an adventure kind of thing that you can be a part of, which is going to be super exciting. So, moving forward, we always start these shows, with news, that kind of thing. So, kind of backtrack a little bit since I haven't been on in a few weeks. I have listened to the episode. So, you guys talked about the whole J.J. Abrams Trevorrow thing. I know that's old news now, but my quick 2 cents on it, honestly, is I'm, as you would expect if you guys know my opinions on most of these things, I'm fine with it. I'm excited about it. J.J.'s always awesome. I'm a huge fan of J.J. And Trevorrow, I'm sure it was he was let go for good reasons probably. So I can't speak to what the truth is on that, but it sounds like we kind of dodged a bullet there. Maybe what was to come. So
it definitely feels like an upgrade.
Yeah,
director wise. I mean, did you see Jurassic World?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually really liked it. I know some people didn't like it. I thought it was a fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevorrow would have been able to handle it and would have been a good Star Wars movie. But I think getting JJ is just going to make it, a little bit closer to getting a great Star Wars movie.
I think it's going to. I love Force Awakens so much. I cried like a little baby in that movie. The Han Solo stuff. It was amazing. I thought it was
Spoilers.
amazing. Oh no! Gosh, dang it.
I mean, if you haven't seen it by now,
why are you listening to this show?
Yeah, you should have seen it.
But no, I'm excited about it. Excited for the future. I like Dave. Like we agree on a lot of these things. Like I have the utmost faith in Kathleen Kennedy and Disney. So far, I don't think they really made a. They obviously haven't made a flop. Financially speaking, wise and critically speaking. But some people dislike Rogue One. Some people dislike Force Awakens, and don't like where it's headed in the future. But hate is gonna hate. I'm very excited. And I think it's going to be a phenomenal closing to this next trilogy. And there's really hasn't really been anything new about the whole situation, right? There's been no updates about.
The only thing, I mean, we talked about on the show, so you probably already heard it. When they announced J.J. Abrams to direct, they also announced co-writer Chris Terrio.
Right, Chris Terrio.
Argo
interesting,
screenwriter,
yeah. He
did
the
some
Justice League
stuff with Justice League, and then I think did a rewrite of Batman vs Superman, and he actually, I think he has done writing on Justice League. So it's kind of interesting because besides Argo, you look at his body of work, and it's just kind of strange. It's like he's done some DC superhero movies,
right?
So it's just hard to know what kind of writer he really is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm curious to know what you think about Chris Terrio.
I think so far it seems like he's done fine with what tasks he's been given with these rewrites or improvements on other scripts. It's curious as why they felt they needed to hire him for episode 9. They are going through a huge rewriting phase. I know that, so maybe that's why they went with him, because so far this guy has a pretty decent track record of rewrites.
Mm-hmm.
From what he did with Batman Superman, from what I've heard, it sounded like it made it a much better movie. And Justice League again. So seems like he knows. He's obviously a proven screenwriter. But JJ's also a great writer too.
Yeah, he started as a writer,
and
then worked into a director, and created the studio Bad Robot. But I think it's maybe because he doesn't feel the need that he has to write everything on the page.
Sure.
He doesn't have to write every line of dialogue or every scene. Maybe he's going to outline it, or they're going to work. Obviously, they're going to work collaboratively, but maybe he's going to outline it and then just have Chris Terrio put the words to the page and kind of help edit and rewrite it as that process gets closer to shooting.
I hope it's a better pairing than Nolan and Goyer, Chris Nolan and David Goyer.
Yeah,
because that's always been a shaky. Like David Goyer's, I feel like isn't a good compliment to Chris Nolan, but J.J. Abrams, very proven filmmaker, Chris Terrio, proven screenwriter. So I think it sounds like it should be a fine pairing. I mean, I don't see what I guess Kasdan didn't want to do it, or he couldn't do it, or whatever. He might be busy. Who knows?
I guess he said the Han Solo script was going to be his last.
That's right. He did say that.
I don't know, last script or last Star Wars script.
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe. I don't know if it's because he wants it to be this sort of. He's ending with the character that he started with.
Sure. That's a good point.
So I guess that's why. But I'm excited to see when they start to announce some other things about 9, even though obviously we're really excited about The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
To know who's going to be the cinematographer, little things like that.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't think they've announced that yet, so have to look out for that.
Yeah, the release date's been changed to back to December again, and so we're just waiting on more information. So I'm not sure. I guess I'm sure they'll wait till after Last Jedi to come out before they really get too far into the details. But very excited. Looking forward to that, of course. Some more news. Since the episode 198 episode with Dave and Chad, actually quite a few things have come out. One of those things we'll talk about later is From a Certain Point of View novel, collection of short stories, came out today.
So excited.
I know you've listened to some of it on audiobook already.
I had to buy the Audible this morning. We'll touch on it later, but I'm so excited about this book, and I'm excited about hearing it as well, because the production they put into a lot of these Star Wars audiobooks is always really good. It's a great way to just sort of drive into work this morning listening to it. So,
and I know Dave will also he's probably already got it too, and he's probably already listening to it. And I'll listen to it after he's done, or maybe I actually just want to buy it. I need to go today and go buy it, the hard copy, and start reading it, because I love the audiobooks, but I just prefer reading it over audiobooks, and I might go ahead and do that today. But yeah, Cody will give us kind of his little review on what he's listened to so far, and a little later in the show. Also later in the show, kind of our big topic will be the trailer for Last Jedi. I know Dave and Chad have kind of talked about their ideas on it, about potential release dates and all that kind of stuff, and some more information has presumably been leaked on that, so we'll definitely talk about that later. That'll be a big topic at the end of the show. But let's talk about a few things that right now, a couple of little things that we kind of actually just read about today in the past couple of days. Last Friday, seemingly confirmed the runtime of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
2.5 hours long.
That's a long movie.
That is incredible. It'd be the longest Star Wars movie.
What's the second longest Star Wars? Do you know?
I think was it? Am I wrong in saying Force Awakens?
But that's exciting. Obviously, with any movie, we want more Star Wars. We want to see more, especially it being the middle chapter to see what Rian Johnson can do. I think there's a lot of questions of what's going to happen in The Last Jedi because we haven't seen the second trailer or a trailer that outlines the story. So knowing that we're going to just get to spend more time with Luke and Rey and with all these characters, I'm really excited that it's going to be longer.
And it's almost like the classic movies are always so long.
Yeah.
Godfather, Shawshank, all that kind of stuff. It's like they're always super long movies. And it doesn't always happen with all movies that are really long, but like the Transformer movies or something like that. But no, this is definitely the longest one. So we have here Phantom Menace was 136 minutes. Attack of the Clones was 142, which I remember when that came out, that felt really long.
Mm-hmm.
Too long, probably. And then Episode 3 is 140. Episode 4 is 125. Episode 5 was 124 minutes. Episode 6 was 135. I mean, there's a special edition version, so they're a little bit longer. And then doesn't say here how long Force Awakens is, but I can find that out real quick. Oh my gosh!
I think it's just thinking about what Last Jedi has to do with the story and where it has to progress our characters. I think you got to think about it being a little bit longer. Usually these kind of movies, where I see it mattering most is in that third act.
Yeah.
I think the third act will get a lot of interesting, hopefully, surprises and things. Empire set up the biggest twists, that we know in a lot of filmmaking. But I think it'll be interesting to see where that third act takes a lot of our characters in this journey. We presume and seem to know that a lot of the first act will be spent with Rey and Luke and hopefully some sort of training reluctant master sort of conversations. Sure. But I think that third act is where this longer runtime is going to really make an impact. And I'm excited to see what they do there, because you think about the end of The Force Awakens, we're left with this literal cliffhanger on the edge of a cliff, and Luke's right there, and we just want him to speak or do something or say, and he doesn't say anything. And something. And it was a really great scene. I'm glad they pulled back, and I'm glad they were restrained in the decision they made. But as a fan and as an audience, I just wanted to see more. I wanted to hear what Luke was going to do. And I think hopefully in this movie, obviously we're going to get a lot of Luke, but that third act resolution, we might get a little more time spent because a longer runtime. So
Force Awakens was 2 hours 15 minutes, so this is definitely by like 8 minutes a longer movie, because Attack of the Clones looked like it was the longest by 2 hours 22 minutes. And then we've talked before, like, what in the world is the story going to be in Last Jedi? And we keep thinking everything we've seen of Rey and Luke, that they're on Octo Island, and we keep thinking, like, how are they going to get off? When are they going to get off? And I kind of think that they may be on that island for the bulk of the movie. And we both have heard different things about how long they're going to be on the island or not. So you kind of, it seems like you might need a super long movie like this to tell all the story of them on the island, how they get off, and what they do next, and how Luke comes back to the Resistance with Leia. That reunion happens, which I'm pretty sure it does, I think. But
gosh, I hope so.
Snoke,
I'd love to see a reunion.
Yeah. Oh my. So very excited about that. 2.5 hours. I want a real time Star Wars movie. I want like Truman Show style, where we see literally every waking moment of these characters. It would be awesome. Moving on to still with the movies, we have you found today and this is kind of spoilers too, so if you slightly spoilers if you want to, nothing plot point wise, it's just little nit things about characters and locations and ships, that kind of stuff. But you found a leaked book. There's
a book called Absolutely Everything You Need to Know about Star Wars, and it's an update for The Last Jedi. And they have a few, a lot of the promotional photos you've seen of Rey in her sort of more Jedi looking outfit with her hair down. They've got images of Chewbacca and Poe in there, some stuff of Finn and Rose. Some of the new characters as well, little stuff with Chewie and Porg. So there's a lot of images in this book, and you can look online and find where to buy the book and when the release date is. But there's some images that have come out from the book of just screenshots of different pages, and one of them actually has a little bit of detail on Snoke, and it says the headline is "Really." exclamation mark, question mark. Among Snoke's many frightening powers are telepathy and force chokes and throws. So seems to confirm, which we probably already all thought that he had some kind of force ability, dark side ability. But that we're going to see potentially in The Last Jedi, Snoke force choking or throwing or using. And I think the telepathy is really interesting too, because, it just, besides general force power, Kylo's ability. Kylo uses the force a lot differently than we've seen other Sith or dark side or whatever you want to call him, wherever he's at in his journey. So,
yeah. It sounds like this. Yeah, like you said, this means we might see Snoke actually perform these acts. Might be choking people, force throwing people, using telepathy. Telepathy is one thing that is interesting because there were some rumors and speculation that maybe, Snoke is the one that was talking to Kylo, pretending that he's Vader to trick Kylo into falling into the dark side.
I remember hearing about this rumor. That he like Wizard of Oz style is sort
exactly.
of.
So if that proves to be true, that's very interesting. I think this idea of telepathy is, I'm trying to think of other Jedi that have. I mean, Luke and Leia have communicated before. Vader and Luke have communicated before telepathically. So it's very, the Skywalkers obviously have that ability to send feelings and to send thoughts and into each other's minds. So,
but Kylo and Rey really have this connection now moving forward because Kylo uses his mind probe and telepathy with a lot of people in The Force Awakens, trying to figure out where BB-8 is and where Luke is, and then there's that iconic scene where he's looking into Rey's mind and she's able to somehow see back into his using the Force. So. Yeah. That idea of telepathy and that connection and where that connection is going to lead them, I think, is going to be really interesting to see it. And the fact that some of that power, also comes from Snoke's teaching to Kylo. So, you may see some connection to that because I imagine, much like we're talking about, Rey's going to train with Luke a lot. Yeah. In this movie, that was Snoke's last word in The Force Awakens is, to Hux is to bring Kylo to him so he can finish his training. So very much how Empire saw Luke on Dagobah with Yoda training, I think we might get a more picture of what dark side training looks like, which we've never really seen training. We've seen Sith and we've seen dark side users when they're already in power, but to see them go through whatever training or what that entails is going to be kind of cool in The Last Jedi.
Very exciting. Anything else of note that you wanted to highlight from these leaked images?
No, there's some images of Canto Bight, which is, it looks really cool and interesting, a really opulent kind of bar.
Sure.
And then there's a little bit of details, if anyone's interested in reading more about the Praetorian Guards, which are Snoke's sort of like royal guards.
But cooler.
Yeah, much cooler. So there's a little bit of detail on them. So if you're interested in finding out, maybe what type of weapons they use, there's some little tidbits in there. And then once the book comes out, obviously this stuff will all be, anybody can just pick it up. But just kind of cool to see.
Yeah, it's out there. So if you guys wanted to, we won't post that on our site. We kind of stay away from leaked spoiler. Well, 2 spoiler things. All this is kind of gray area because the Snoke thing to me is somewhat of a spoiler. It could be. But if you want to find it, it's out there. You guys can go get that. It's pretty interesting just to look at. And I think there was some. You found something else about ships, like an A-wing kind of thing, and there was like a new character, a new pilot character that was shown in an A-wing.
Yeah, there's a shot that's in an A-wing book that's all about different ships, and it kind of like details the inner makings of an A-wing, and it has a screenshot that I presume is from The Last Jedi of what it could be. I don't know for sure. It could be, maybe Rose's sister is said to be in The Last Jedi, maybe a pilot piloting an A-wing above Dakar. So there's been images in the first trailer for The Last Jedi of, a battle in space. Looks like it could have been above Dakar where the Resistance are maybe fleeing or the First Order is coming to attack them. So it's just kind of cool to see, more pilots and characters. And then we're going to get a proper space battle in The Last Jedi. So
very exciting. Kylo and his silencer and all that stuff. So awesome. Awesome stuff. Yeah, absolutely everything you need to know about Star Wars is the updated version. I don't know when that is coming out. I imagine around the time the movie's being released, but a pretty cool book. Dave and I profiled some things from the current edition of it, and it's very awesome, really cool book. So moving on, this is a few days old, but Forces of Destiny, there was an article on StarWars.com kind of talking about the release of the official TV broadcast of those shorts. So basically what they did earlier this year, kind of throughout the summer week, were shown, I can't remember how many, like a handful of these really short shorts from Forces of Destiny.
Didn't they announce it like the day before Star Wars Celebration?
Yeah, and they always said that there's going to be a handful of episodes or shorts that will be released, and then later, it almost sounded like immediately after, there would be a 2 half-hour TV broadcasts with new episodes, new shorts. But we never heard word of when it's going to happen. But then Star Wars put out an article last week to talk about the TV broadcast and when it's going to air. And the first one's already aired. So there's 2 half-hour specials that will air on the Disney Channel. So one happened this past Sunday, October 1st. The next one is at the end of the month, Sunday, October 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Disney Channel and the Disney Channel app. So it's going to show 8 never-before-seen installments. And then I think it might even show some ones that we've already seen. But same voice actors that we were shown in the shorts on earlier this year. But after it's premiered on TV, it looks like the new shorts will also launch on Disney YouTube, which is where the other ones currently live. So if you don't catch it on TV on the Disney Channel, then you can just watch it on Disney YouTube after they air. So go to the go to the Disney YouTube account channel on YouTube, and you can watch the current ones. And I think they've even already released one of the new ones that aired on Sunday, which features Sabine and her bounty hunter friend. I can't remember her name, but I like these episodes pretty well. We talked about them when they first aired. They're pretty interesting. Some are very minimal in what happens. Some really nothing happens at all. But there's others that it's centered around a big event, and it's actually really cool. And I love seeing these new characters, and I'm excited to see more. Cody, I think you have different opinions on Forces of Destiny, and it's great to have other opinions on this show. So please tell me what you think of Forces of Destiny.
It's interesting. When they first released it, I was like, okay, this is a new type of animation. I was like, okay, I love the Clone Wars, love Rebels. Interested to see what type of animation they're going to do. Found out that it was more of this shorter form videos that are more designed to go on YouTube and just, put online. And then, of course, they're airing a collection of them. Mm-hmm. But, when I first saw the artwork for them, I don't know, I was just a little bit, turned off by the art style.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's something that kind of threw me out of the Star Wars experience for it. I watched a few of the Rey ones where she's scavenging on Jakku. Mm-hmm. And, they're interesting. I mean, they've got, great sound and they've got, the voice work and stuff. It's all there. But to me, the art style is something that threw me off. And I don't know that I'm going to check out any of these recent ones just because I can't get over that artwork style. Yeah. But if this is designed and made for, a lot of it is focusing on female characters, mm-hmm. designed for a younger audience, especially younger girls. And if it gets younger girls into Star Wars at an early age where they're maybe not old enough to watch some of the movies or just it interests them more, then I'm all for it, getting more people into Star Wars and having more ways to connect fans with this thing that we all love. So I'm all for it. I just wonder if because of the art style and, I don't know how much they're putting into it and what it costs to make, but I wonder if they could be putting it towards something different is the only question I have. Because I get really excited to see, Rebels Season 4 is about to start in October and what they're going to do next. So I just wonder, maybe this is just sort of like a side thing and they put somebody on it to be able to, but I always think of, could they have put their resources towards, making the animation style a little bit better?
Yeah. I can see where some people will be turned off with that. But, no, I'm just amazed that they got the original actors to voice the characters, and and I'm excited to see. 'Cause I know this is different opinions on some people, but I love filling in gaps kind of thing. And a lot of these episodes feel like deleted scenes or extended scenes of stuff we've already seen in the movies. And there's a lot of stuff with Leia on Endor, and we get more of that in the future. But it's fun because it kind of fills in little gaps here and there. They're not very impactful to the story, but they're just little things. Like the one with Leia on Endor is, how she got her dress. That suddenly she's in a new dress at the Ewok village. Like, well, how in the world did she get that? And we see how she got it. The Ewoks gave her a dress. So it's cool little things like that. That's just I just love absorbing any and everything about this world. So looking forward to the future installments, and I hope to see hope there's more surprises along the way with that. But so the next one is October 29th, which is right before Halloween. Well, I think we're going to get to the point we need to talk about the main topics here. So let's let's talk a little more detail about From a Certain Point of View. Now, before the book was actually released today, a few days ago, late last week, USA Today released an excerpt from a short story, Boba Fett. I'm only telling you this because it's a kind of a humorous. Hopefully, we can translate it well in this podcast. But there was a humorous encounter with the story about this story. Yeah, we found USA Today put out Boba Fett excerpt from the Boba Fett short story, and also an excerpt from the audiobook featuring John Hamm.
Right.
And then
you sent me this link, and I was super excited. I was actually working, and I couldn't wait to come back and listen to it. But it had an excerpt from John Hamm voicing and reading Boba Fett. So I finally get back, and Casey's over here at work with me, and we get by the computer, and I go to play it, and I'm like, oh yeah, come listen to this, little excerpt. And I start playing, I scroll down USA Today, get to the SoundCloud embed link, and go to play it. And we're listening, and it starts out, and it's John Hamm, and he's kind of rough and gruff, talking like Boba Fett. And I'm like, man, he makes Boba Fett sound kind of like a jerk.
It's so funny. He's like strutting in, like all the other bounty hunters step aside. Fett's here.
And you've got the Star Wars, kind of like sound effects going on, and like simultaneously when I hit the play button, this like Al Green, like soul blues Motown kind of music started playing, and I was
very
like,
swaggier, very much of a funk kind of
a funky sort of
cool hip sound.
And I was thinking, I was like, this is really weird, man. And then I started to listen to it. I was like, I think this sounds like an Al Green song.
Yeah.
And it starts playing, and I'm thinking, did they put this kind of music in the audiobook? Because I remember it being more like Star Wars sound effect style with Star Wars themes in the other audiobooks.
John Williams music playing in the background. But
right.
This is not a Star Wars. It's weird because, I think like, did Star Wars canonize this Al Green song? Let's stay together, because it fits, because you have Boba Fett strutting along, and so you have John Hamm's cool Don Draper voice in the background.
Like, watch out, boys, Fett's here, and it's like Motown soul music playing.
It's like, well, this is an interesting take.
And we kind of both turned into it, and we're like, this is really weird. And so, I paused the audio thing because I'm like, this music can't be in Star Wars. After like realizing this is kind of cool, I like this.
Weird.
Let's pause this, and I pause it and realize, of course, on USA Today, if you scroll down the page more, there's an ad playing that had this just music playing for the first 30 seconds while I'm trying to listen to this audio excerpt. So
it was the synchronization was amazing. Uncanny, and just total coincidental. But
so don't worry, Al Green is not in the Star Wars universe yet, but
I think that
we might have just come up with a brilliant idea.
Yes. We definitely need to pitch that somehow, or make an edit of that and put it on YouTube, because it worked out very well.
I imagine if I'm walking into a cantina on Mos Eisley, that if the modal nodes aren't playing, they've got to have like Al Green on a.
I mean, Al Green and Boba Fett turns out works very well together.
Yeah,
who knew? Who'd have thunk it? So, but today you got the real version.
Yes,
with the real audio, sound effects, sound music, and everything like that. So, Cody, what have you read so far or listened to so far, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, so downloaded the audio book this morning. Was really excited to get into it because we've been previewing and talking about some of the stories that we're looking forward to in From a Certain Point of View, and so started playing it, and immediately kind of went into the introduction. I'll just go ahead and tell you the first story that's in it is about Ramus Antilles.
Right.
It's just really cool because I won't give a lot of details for any of these stories for anybody who's waiting to listen.
Still pretty fresh, so we won't spoil anything.
But it's really cool. I mean, it jump starts right in and gets you into that A New Hope vibe. I mean, it's already been teed up by the preview, but Ramus Antilles gives a great bridge between where Rogue One leaves off on the Tantive 4,
right?
And which I got wrong.
I
last time I was on the show because I just assumed
no, forever. That's what I think most humans assumed. It was Tantive 4.
because that's how it's spelled.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the audiobook I caught it, and I showed Dave. I think it was the Ahsoka audiobook. I was listening to it, and they kept saying like Tantive, and I kept having to listen to it again. Like, is actually Eckstein saying Tantive? And then I hear it again in Lost Stars, some other book, Tantive 4. And I showed Dave, and we both just totally, our worlds changed.
Yeah.
Tantive 4, not Tantive 4.
Dave dropped this knowledge on me a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and I was like, wow, I had no idea. But so that ship from A New Hope, and that's in the end of Rogue One, is kind of Ramus Antilles is the captain of that ship. So great story about him. I kind of started out with that, and that's the first story you get into. And then I kind of was listening a little bit, and I skipped ahead a few chapters because there's some stories I was really excited to listen to first, and I wanted to kind of get a feel for those instead of just going through it chronologically. But the one thing with the Audible book that's a little hard, when you get it, you'll notice the chapters just have chapter number designations.
Yeah,
they don't have titles.
That's how they are all.
Which
it's weird.
For these short stories makes it a little difficult to kind of jump around and get into it. So I'm hoping either through the actual book coming out, a list of chapters, somebody can put up online just a detailed list, because I'd like to buy the physical book, but right now I'm really interested in getting into the audiobook because they have these wonderful stories where you get, I listened to Master and Apprentice, which is a story from Qui-Gon's point of view.
That's so cool.
And if you're wondering, how does Qui-Gon fit into A New Hope in that time period, you just have to read it or listen to it.
Because it's true that all these stories center around A New Hope.
It is true. So far from what I've learned, everything is connected to A New Hope. Even, that first story that, talked about bridging between Rogue One and A New Hope.
Because it's been curious as some of these characters that have been revealed, like Dr. Aphra. It's like, well, how is, we've always only seen her post A New Hope.
Right.
So this is, during the time. So it's curious to see how it all fits together.
Yeah. So, the Qui-Gon story is really good, and if you've been interested in sort of just Qui-Gon's journey and what happens to him after he dies in Episode 1, his connection to the Force, the things that Yoda mentions in Episode 3 to Obi-Wan about communicating with an old friend that he introduces to Obi-Wan, and the fact that Obi-Wan, how he learns to become a Force ghost before he becomes one with the Force. A lot of that is it goes through some of that. I mean, it doesn't answer all the questions you might have about it, but the first part of that story is a very existential sort of narration from Qui-Gon's point of view of being in the Force, and then there's some conversation between him and Obi-Wan on Tatooine. So if you've always wondered, what an Obi-Wan movie could look like, what Obi-Wan's time in the desert on Tatooine was like, he definitely communicated with Qui-Gon, and I'm sure it doesn't spell out everything, but I'm sure these kind of conversations he had with Qui-Gon are what lead him to being able to talk to Luke at the end of Episode 4, and then appearing to Luke on Hoth and on Dagobah. So that was a really, really excellent story. Forgetting the author right now, unfortunately, but there's a lot of great authors.
Oh, it's full of them. I'm excited. I'm excited to read the one that we were glimpsed with Boba Fett, Paul Dini one.
I listened to that one.
So excited.
It's awesome.
The whole thing.
There's no Al Green,
right?
Unfortunately, but I did listen to Paul Dini. I've been a huge fan. Batman the Animated Series. Yes. I'm sure his
comic work is amazing as well. His comic stuff.
Just he's a guy that his stories kind of grew up with, especially on the Batman side, and then I don't know. He just really, it was interesting because when it first starts out, I mean, we don't really ever get a lot of stories from Boba Fett's point of view. There's a lot of stories, Boba Fett is a small character in the original trilogy, and then there's a lot of stories where Boba Fett, in the old EU, and then
Right.
Some in Clone Wars as a young Boba Fett.
Still young, yeah.
But just hearing Boba Fett at his prime, when he walks into the Mos Eisley Cantina, he's like, "What's up, boys? Fett's here." It's just like, he's got this swagger about him. And John Hamm voicing him is like a perfect pairing, because he carries that.
He has such a good cadence in his voice. Anyways.
He's got a good.
Just so suave.
And it's John Draper.
Don Draper.
Don Draper in Star Wars. So
very deep bass. And, very cool.
That was a really good story. Offered a lot of insight too. I mean, you think about, when you think about A New Hope, and you have that scene in the special edition where Jabba is talking to Han Solo,
right,
outside of the cantina, and you've got a couple of different Jabba's thugs or whatever, and then you've got Boba Fett standing there as well. So obviously in the story, right, that is centered around what the story takes place in A New Hope. So it's just kind of cool to get a little more detail into what Boba Fett was doing there, and his purpose in being there, and then you can kind of draw some conclusions about where he could be going next in the story based on where we see him next in the movie. Yep. So it's a really great book. Some really good stories. There's one that I'm actually in the middle of right now that I started listening to but wasn't able to finish on the way into work this morning, which is called Time of Death. Takes place the moment that Obi-Wan dies in A New Hope, and just picks up right where that left off. And again, back to the Qui-Gon story, there's a lot of connection there in Time of Death, where you really get to learn about what happens when a Jedi dies, and what is being one with the Force like, or what is Obi-Wan's journey to becoming a Force ghost, and sort of his inner monologue and questions and thoughts about what's going on. It's really cool, and it's really different from a lot of the Star Wars stories that we've been told.
Awesome. I'm just anticipating stories like that, and hopefully there's more like that in the book, where it just sheds some light on some questions that I've definitely been having, and I think a lot of other Star Wars fans have had as well, about one with the Force, Afterlife of a Jedi, all that stuff. So I'm just beyond excited to pick up a copy and start reading. And we'll have a more thorough review on the show once David and I have completed through it, and we'll probably maybe even have a written article component on our website, so please stay tuned for that. So the last topic we'll go before we close out the show is we'll talk about the trailer for The Last Jedi, because I can't remember specifically when it was, but Mark Hamill seemed to, you guys probably know this by now, but a little slip-up tweet by Mark Hamill seemed to have somewhat announced the release of The Last Jedi trailer, which is October 9th, this coming Monday. Yeah.
Somebody just tweeted him and basically asked, when can we see a new trailer for The Last Jedi? And he just responds, I'm paraphrasing, but, you should watch Monday Night Football on October 9th for no reason.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the tweet is deleted, but of course, because we have cell phones and screenshots and everything, people took screenshots of it and posted it everywhere, and you can see his reply. And I guess Disney came down and told him he couldn't, he had to delete the tweet, and then he tried to backtrack and had a little response on Twitter to somebody where I think he tried to play it off like he was joking.
Right.
But since then, Casey, I don't know if you you know for sure who, but I think some other Star Wars outlet, Star Wars Newsnet, I think that's who it was. They backed up October 9th being the date for the trailer. Right. So,
and you can of course listen to last week's episode to hear Dave and Chad's thoughts on that release and the thought of just with the trailer in general. But we'll talk about. So Cody, what do you think then? October 9th, what do you think we're going to see? Like maybe we should. I don't know if we should separate or combine it. But what do you want to see, or what do you think we should see? Which one do you want to tackle?
Interesting. What do I? Well,
I mean, maybe we should do realistically. What do you think we'll get?
What do you think we'll get? Not what do I want to get.
'Cause this is going to be a theatrical trailer, no doubt.
Yeah.
So what do you think we'll get?
I think some of the things I want will also be in what we should get, because I hope that I'm not too unrealistic about my expectations for a trailer. I mean, every time I think about what we'll get in a Star Wars trailer, I try to look to what we've gotten in the past. Mm-hmm. So Force Awakens, around this time, it was October, Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. We got the trailer that starts out with Rey. Starts out with her in a Star Destroyer, scavenging. Mm-hmm. And, we didn't get a lot of detail, but we got little snapshots of each of the characters. Mm-hmm. So I think what I expect to see is, obviously, I think we'll open somewhere on Octo. Mm-hmm. Whether or not we open with I think it's got to be something based on the Force, Rey's journey with Luke, and then maybe we'll see a little bit of that struggle of Luke resisting somehow, whether that's manifested in a visual or a line of dialogue from Luke. And that's the other interesting thing, is I'm trying to think through right now as I'm wondering what we will see. A lot of the trailers, even in The Force Awakens, were narrated by Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. I think I don't know if it was the first or second trailer for Force Awakens was all Mark Hamill's. Right. I have it. Jedi. My sister has it. You have that power too. Yeah. That was all Mark Hamill, and Luke didn't say any of that stuff in The Force Awakens. But that was very much more of a nostalgia trip. So I think I think we'll get some Luke and Rey interaction, conflict, maybe. Obviously we've got to see the Resistance just down and out, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what the other trailer set up. Poe's running to an X-Wing, or exploding. He's running from an explosion, running down a hallway. So some kind of Resistance, First Order battle, space battle, seeing the Resistance losing. I think the trailer's got to build up what The Last Jedi is going to encompass, which is going to be all of our characters, and Rian Johnson has said this, all of our characters being pushed to their limits. Mm-hmm. I think that's when he went to write it, he thought, how can I push, Luke, Rey, Leia, all these characters basically to their limits. And I think we'll see that. I think we'll see that we're going to have to see Canto Bight. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see something new. And I think Canto Bight would be a great way to see that. I'm trying to think, did the first Last Jedi, it didn't have anything on Canto Bight?
I don't recall.
I think we've only seen it in images.
Yeah.
So, and I think we'll see Snoke. I think they'll actually show him. Mm-hmm. Whether or not that will be shadowy,
like just a hologram,
like a hologram, or whether that'll actually be the Snoke that we've seen in some of the imagery and the toys. Yeah. I don't know for sure. But I'd like to have them parallel the beginning of the trailer with Luke and Rey training, Kylo and Snoke training, potentially.
That'd be cool.
Because I think that's how the movie will start. So it'll really set up a storyline that, both training, and then they'll converge on some kind of battle. So it's likely they're going to reuse imagery or different images and shots from Crate, where those... what are those ships called? Do you know what the ships are called? Those little speeders?
Ski something, I think. Yeah, those little speeders.
Speeders. I think it'd be cool to see something on Crate, you know, whether or not it's the speeders again, or if it's walkers or some kind of battle happening on the ground. What I'd love to see, and what I think we need and should get in a trailer, is you think about the second Force Awakens trailer, it culminated to Chewie, we're home, right? Mm-hmm. I think through that, and that's the big moment that caught everyone's attention. That was the moment that everybody knew, okay, I'm on board, I'm excited. I can't wait to see Han and Chewie get home on the Falcon. Right. So when I think about The Last Jedi and really who that's about is, it's a story about, obviously about Rey, but it's a story about Luke. Mm-hmm. It's a story about Rey finding Luke and him getting back into the fold. I think we've got to end the trailer with some kind of big moment with Luke. And I don't know if that's seeing him in action. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's seeing him make a decision to not resist to train Rey and actually like take up that hero mantle again. But I'd love to have some kind of Mark Hamill, Luke narration that culminates in Luke coming back into the fold. I mean, obviously, from a fan perspective, I'd love to see Luke just ignite a green lightsaber. If he doesn't have it on him for whatever reason, it's not in any of the toys. R2 probably has it inside of him like he did in Return of the Jedi. So we know R2's just going to shoot out that lightsaber and he's going to pick it up. But no, I mean, if that doesn't happen, I mean, I'd be okay. But I'd love to see something, some huge moment like that we just get a snapshot from. That kind of, that's the big like hype moment, right? Yeah. But I think they might also, they could use Carrie Fisher to narrate the trailer, and that would go over really. That would go over really well because, unfortunately, where we're at with the fact that she passed away, using her lines from the movie could be a really impactful and the familial connection with Kylo. That could be cool as well. So.
That's a good point. I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think we agree on, our ideas are very similar in a lot of that. I think it's safe to say we will definitely see a lot of what we've already seen in the first teaser, but expanded. So, like, expanded battle on Crate. Yeah. We'll see more porgs, flapping around, whatever. Maybe that one porg that I guess somehow sneaks on the Falcon with Chewie, but. We'll see more running around hangar bases, things explode. I agree that we'll probably see a lot of the resistance just getting pummeled, whether it's through the dogfights in space or it's on the car or it's if they find another on Crate, I guess, another base. I would like to be cool to see some of Kylo actually flying in his ship, piloting a little bit of that, a little glimpse of that. I think if we do see Snoke, I think we should. It'd be good, and I think that's possible in actual gold robe Snoke, because so much marketing of it's been done already, so I think it's almost a clue of what, based on the marketing, it's almost a clue of what we will see in the trailer. So like more Phasma, the execution of stormtroopers, the more the Praetorian Guard doing stuff. I think we could see some of that. Just a lot of action shots, because like you said, not a lot of story was shown in the Force Awakens first theatrical trailer. They did a great job of not revealing hardly any of the story, although it was a pretty basic plot. We know absolutely nothing of the story for Last Jedi, and I think we'll come away with this trailer still feeling like we don't know what the goal is. I mean, the goal is to fight the First Order, but what's like, are they trying to blow up something? Are they trying to kill, just infiltrate the Snoke's big ship and kill Snoke or something like that? Or what's Finn doing on, I don't think we're going to know exactly what everybody's individual plots are. I think we'll just get more glimpses, more cool action shots that give us ideas and themes. I would think Rey and Luke definitely will get more just them on the island. Because if they ever get off the island, I don't think we'll see it in the trailer. Yeah. I think they'll keep us glued to that moment, because I don't think if they show Luke, especially at the end, it won't. I assume Luke's gonna get over this hump of not wanting to be involved, and he'll get involved. But I don't think we'll ever see that in the trailer.
You don't think they want to give that away?
No, I think it'll kind of tease us to something like maybe he'll give a cool grimace, like if that rumor about the Knights of Ren coming on Octo Island is true, and maybe we'll see some of that or whatever.
That'd be
cool. You get a cool shot of Luke just like looking mad, taking off his robe and like walk, like
using the Force or something.
Some really brief tease of like, oh, I think he's about to do something after this moment. So whether or not he like, maybe if he has a lightsaber, maybe like flings open his robe and we see a lightsaber hanging out there and that's it. Or he reaches out his hand to use the Force, but we don't see what he does. Or I don't know, some really cool, impactful tease like that with Luke. I think is realistic. I don't think realistically we would see him actually do anything spectacular. If he does pull out a lightsaber, I think what would be really cool is maybe it's not green, maybe it's white, like Ahsoka.
Oh,
this whole idea of like he's not really a Jedi anymore. He's just a Force user. He's kind of on different. He's in the middle. I don't want to say gray, but I just did. So
the Bendu.
The Bendu. So I'm very excited. I mean, we'll find out soon enough.
How do you think they end? Do you think it's a Luke moment, like you were saying?
I think it will be a Luke moment.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what everybody's wanting, I suppose. I do want more bad guys, because that's kind of one thing we miss a lot from the early trailers of The Force Awakens is you go a lot of stuff with the villain side of things. A lot of small glimpses of Kylo here and there, but that's why I want to see Hux more. I want to see Snoke more and Kylo more. Just again, shots of them. Not necessarily. I don't think it'll be plot point revealing, but just kind of show them a little bit more of what they're doing, kind of things that they're up to. So, and Canto Bight, I would like it if we saw all the characters like DJ, Admiral Holdo. I think just to get glimpses of all of them and kind of what they're doing. I think this should show the encompassing nature of the movie, obviously without revealing too much. But 2.5 hour long movie, they should make like a 5-minute trailer. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
Only showing a fraction of it. But we'll know soon enough. Monday, after the trailer, Monday, Tuesday, Dave and I will do an episode. We'll get some probably feedback from everybody else too, and we'll have a special 200th episode jam-packed with all the Last Jedi awesomeness. 200. I don't know what the Roman numerals... We don't do Roman numerals anymore, but I don't know what that would be. CC? I don't know. Anywho, that's pretty much the episode. Any final thoughts on the trailer, Cody, or anything that's
I'm just super excited that October 9th is coming up, and we're going to have another trailer for The Last Jedi. We're going to have more Last Jedi footage to clamor over, watch over and over, talk about. We're going to see Luke Skywalker again. I'm just fascinated with this idea of going back to this character that we all fell in love with in the original trilogy and seeing him, struggle, get back into the fold. So can't wait.
Yeah, I very excited, very, very excited. I had a thought, but I forgot what it was. So anyways, thank you so much, Cody, for joining me on this episode. I think it's safe to say that I'm back. So you'll most likely will keep hearing me now from now on, and we got more commentaries to do right now. You can see the episode 4 commentary and Rogue One commentary on our YouTube page. If you go to YouTube, so just search Inside the Force, or I'll make a post and put it on our website as well, InsideTheForce.com, so you can watch it off of that. Watch the fan-made trailers that Dave cut together.
They're awesome. If you haven't checked them out, go to the Inside the Force YouTube channel. Watch these trailers. They're really well done. He spent a lot of time not only cutting together the visuals, but you get sound effects and the VO, and it's really cool.
And a lot of guys think that it just makes the movies so much better in terms of really the prequel trailers that he made. But yeah, go watch that. We have Chad Perkins on the. Sorry, not Chad Perkins. Yeah, he's the next one. But we have Russell Johnson on episode 4. We had Jeb Smith on Rogue One. So please watch that. Leave comments. Like it, share it, all that kind of good stuff. You'll be getting the episode 5 Empire Strikes Back commentary this month. I would say probably towards the end of the month, just because it's pretty busy with all of our personal schedules, and some other things are happening that set back that a little bit. So you'll get the fan-made trailer of Empire, and then you'll get the commentary of Empire later at the end of this month. And then next month, you'll get episode 6, and then at the beginning of this December, you'll get Force Awakens commentary with Buddy Cody over here.
So excited for that.
I'm pumped for that one too. I'm very, very excited. So look forward to that, guys. And please, you can listen to us InsideTheForce.com right there on the website. You can also go to iTunes store to get us there. You can TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, all over the place on the internet. So please listen to us, subscribe, like, share, review, everything. Get the word out there to listen to our show. And we have some things in motion for bringing you guys new and original and fun content really soon. So please stick to that. Dave and I are cooking up some really great stuff. So thank you so very much for listening. For Cody Guiler.
Thank you, everyone. May the Force be with you.
And then, I'll go ahead and my side of things, I'll do my quote over here. So let's see if I can do this right. If you define yourself by the power to take life, the desire to dominate, to possess, then you have nothing. That is actually a quote from Obi-Wan on Rebels. His episode on Rebels. I didn't know if I should do the voice. I usually try to do the voices. And we usually record these shows super late at night where I actually can't do the voice. And my Obi-Wan always starts off good, but it turns out to be a beetle at the very end. So it will sound something out like this. Let me think. I always have to say something else for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ray.
Let me take a drink of water. Let me do this real quick. But let's see if I can get this going here. May the Force be with you. It's all right. If you define yourself by I can't even do it. It's too. I've been talking too much. I can't do it. Sorry, guys. I'm decent at voices, but just not right now. So there you go. Obi-Wan Kenobi quote. Looking forward to his stories from a certain point of view and for his movie coming out. So look forward to that. Thank you so much, guys, and for both of us here. And I'll do this for Dave. It's his thing, but I'll, in honor of Dave, I will go ahead and say thank you, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Inside the Force, a Star Wars podcast hosted by David Cottingham and Casey Cooley. For more shows, additional content, articles, and the latest Star Wars news, please visit InsideTheForce.com. Inside the Force. For the Force within all of us.